Welcome to Deep Dive with DevGrid Networks. I'm your host, Mike Coker. Today we have Jay Killion from HPE. And so talk about troubleshooting and the ticket resolution and the AI piece. Mm-hmm. So you guys have kind of named the AI as Marvis. And so for the people that don't understand what Marvis is, we can even get into like the Marvis Minis and that sure. aspect as well. But explain kind of what that is, how that ties into both the switching and the access points.
Yeah. So Marvis, the name, it came from Jarvis, our founder, Bob Friday. If for anyone not familiar with in the world of Wi-Fi, if you're in the world of wireless, you know who Bob is. Bob is the Gandalf of the wireless world. Yeah. So Bob named this AI engine Marvis, and we were, by the way, lucky, fortuitous, blessed, like that. Bob had this vision of AI and networking long before any other vendor.
Well, long before Chat or Claude or any of these other things as well. You guys have been doing this for a minute. So.
This is, I tell my kids, future generations are going to rebrand AC and BC. It's not going to be before Christ and after Christ. It will be before ChatGPT and after ChatGPT, because ChatGPT came on the scene, and overnight, every vendor raised their hand and said, "We have AI too."
Exactly.
And then they scrambled to duct tape anything resembling AI onto their platform. Yeah. When customers ask, "How is it that you are generationally ahead of any other platform that's currently available?" The simple answer is we began our journey into AI back in 2015. Yeah. So we have over 5 years of a head start over any other vendor. Where since 2015, every week, our data science team meets with our support team, and they review every single ticket, and they've asked, are we gathering the right telemetry? If not, let's start gathering that telemetry. And then did we have the right telemetry, and then make the right decision on it? And if not, we need to tweak our engine, which is why we can fast forward to today and very confidently say, Marvis is never wrong. It does not give false positives where you're now chasing ghosts. But to get back and answer your question, I would say there are 3 fundamental things that our AI engine does better than a human, if I had to distill it down to that. It's this. First, it is incredible at pattern recognition. Taking copious amounts of data and being able to find the signal and the noise, and actually I'll give you a quick example of what that looks like in practice. So like yourself, in my previous life, I was a network engineer, network architect, network manager. And so I looked after the network infrastructure team at GameStop. And this was pre-meme GameStop. So I didn't get wealthy off of any of the roaring kitty Chaz, unfortunately. But so we had an issue in our warehouse. We had this huge warehouse in Grapevine, Texas. And we had what is, in my opinion, the worst possible or the worst type of issue for an engineer to troubleshoot. It was sporadic, so we didn't know when it was going to occur. We couldn't reproduce it, and it was incredibly impactful. So we were at the mercy of just trying to catch this packet, like trying to find the signal in the noise and what is actually causing this. So I sent one of my senior engineers, a gentleman named Matt Guzman, to our warehouse with a sniffer to try and capture those packets. And we had to spread word throughout this massive warehouse. When the issue starts occurring, you've got to call out, "It's happening!" and then Matt would pick up his laptop and go sprinting across the warehouse to try and pop it open and get that packet capture. 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I had Matt Guzman sitting on a metal folding chair in the middle of a warehouse trying to get that packet capture. Now, I'll contrast that to, I won't say the name, but the largest e-com company in the world. When they moved to Mist Wireless, they had a similar issue where they have these, for lack of a better term, like these robots that are just flying up and down their aisles, and they have these simple, I believe they're simple handheld scanners, and they were having issues. And after several months of troubleshooting and couldn't figure out what it was, they eventually said, let's try out Mist. And sure enough, our AI engine Marvis, it didn't just identify the problem, but the very first time that issue occurred, without any special troubleshooting, you're not setting up specific capture filters, it grabbed that packet automatically and cut through all of this noise. And the issue wasn't wireless at all. It was the drivers on this device. It wasn't following standards for roaming. And when they sent that packet capture off to the company that made the handhelds, their response back was, "Holy crap! How did you get a packet capture of an in-flight fast roam?" Like that's something that takes milliseconds. It's like the definition of a needle in a haystack. And that's one of the things that our AI engine does better than any human could, is looking at your entire infrastructure and finding that signal in the noise. Second thing would be speed of correlation, like the ability to not just identify one signal, but multiple signals, and then accurately make those connections to understand cause and correlation, and understanding that this is related to this. Like recently, we had a customer in a higher ed environment. School started back up, and all they knew is that when people were moving between buildings, they were having all sorts of issues, and so of course it was the wireless, and so you're guilty until proven innocent, and it was Marvis that was just bubbling up and screaming, "Hey, it's not wireless, it's DHCP," and sure enough, they were running. They shouldn't have been doing this most likely, but they were using their Palo Alto box as a DHCP server also for a whole lot of students, and the Palo Alto box wasn't designed for that, and so it was having issues. But the issues manifested themselves as wireless, and because the AI engine is able to make correlations at light speed, it was able to bubble up and say, "Hey, stop looking at wireless. Your issue is right here." And then I guess the third thing I would say is that it's incredibly consistent. It doesn't take sick days. It doesn't leave for your competitor. You will get top level performance, whether it's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday or 2 a.m. on a Saturday. You have an incredibly consistent AI engine that emulates your best engineer as if they worked 24/7 and never got sick.
And what I like about that too is like when the Marvis Minis came out, right? So basically it's actually creating like the end user, so that, when you do, as the network engineer, your wireless upgrade, your switch upgrade, your OS upgrade, whatever, in the middle of the night when there's nobody there, then it actually is able to tell, hey, there's going to be an issue or not, because it's basically doing a live kind of, production work with those minis. This
is I think one of the greatest innovations our industry has seen in years. Full transparency, it wasn't our idea. This came from Fortune 1. So they've deployed all of our they use our APs and switches as their standard, and their challenge to us, what they said is this: we love your platform. It's bubbling up. It's identifying all these different issues, but there's one problem. It's dependent on someone being in our store. It's dependent on someone being in our campus that's generating traffic. So you have this condition that may have been there all along, and it's sitting there dormant, and it's waiting for a user to come in and generate traffic that now makes you aware that issue's there. So what do you do when the building's empty? And this is where Marvis Minis came from, and this is where it's unique. It's a digital user twin And there have been other solutions in the industry that will inject synthetic traffic onto your network, but those have all been dependent on you deploying all of these external sensors and these external devices. It's another overlay on top of your platform. Marvis Minis, it runs on our APs, it runs on our switches, on our WAN appliances, both on demand and scheduled. And so at 2 a.m, it's testing. Hey, can I still get an IP address? Is DNS resolving? Can I get to the internet? You can put in your own custom apps, and it's going to say, hey, I'm going to send an HTTP GET. Am I actually getting the proper response back? So if your mobile POS isn't working, you don't have to wait for 8 a.m. on Monday morning to find out. You know proactively. And here's what I think is the best part. This solution, it runs on a modern microservices cloud. And here's what that means. Other solutions in our industry for cloud networking, they run on a legacy architecture called a shard, which is essentially this. If you think about a wireless controller, you have thousands and thousands of lines of code. It's monolithic code, and if you need to update one line of code, you update that line of code, and you hope that it doesn't break one of the other tens of thousands of lines of code. With microservices, every process runs independent of the whole. So think of it like your iPhone. If my LinkedIn app gets updated, it has no impact whatsoever on my Netflix app. If I have a bug in my E-Trade app, I can still make phone calls. It has no impact whatsoever. And so that's microservices. And it allows us to provide a level of uptime and push new features and functionality and updates at a speed that's never been done before. So Marvis Minis, as the example, our customers went to bed one night and they didn't have Marvis Minis. And they woke up the following morning and they did. Zero downtime. No additional subscription or license, no additional hardware. It was just new functionality, and it wasn't dependent on a model of AP. If you bought our APs 7 years ago, guess what? You got Marvis Minis. And so that's also an advantage of microservices. But yes, Marvis Minis is an absolute game changer. It now not only runs on APs and switches and our WAN appliances, but we now have this deployed in POPs around the globe. So you get true client to cloud. And when they're running these tests, if one of them fails, well, they notify their neighbors, say, hey, run this exact test because DNS is failing for me, as an example. And then they'll all begin running that test. So you end up with blast radius. You now not only know what's wrong, but you know, is this site-wide? Is this affecting everyone? Or is it just at this one single location or this one single area?
Awesome.